welcome back to Keeping It Real. Before we went on a short break, we've been talking about the certain traits and decisions that you have to take as a partner to keep your relationship or your marriage going. So, MissEyitayo, what do you have for us?
As you know, my views actually are not in line with getting married at all. So I will not know what you should do to keep the marriage. I would say you should not get married at all.
Oh.
Seriously, what's the point? Why do you really have to get married? A lot of people actually live better when they're alone than when they're trying to please other people in something called marriage.
MissEyitayo, this sounds very personal. Could you have gone through anything that would make you like this or make you think like this?
Not at all. I do not have any bad experiences with love. I do not have any bad relationships. But I feel like everybody needs to be alone. Nobody really needs to tie themselves up with another in the name of marriage. If you need a little companionship, be in a relationship and end it after a while when you get bored. Then go into another one.
And you don't think this would be lonely? You're going to obviously get old someday.
Have you had a lot of relationships? It's fun.
Obviously, it is.
Yeah, it doesn't get lonely.
MissEyitayo, I totally disagree. Even though we all have our preferences, I would not argue. I then would say that I do not think it is healthy to go from a relationship and then when you're bored, you go on to another.
Then just stay alone.
Are you saying you'd rather stay alone or in a relationship and go to another?
Personally, I would rather stay alone. But if you need to have a companion, then go into a relationship.
Okay, so are you in support of a relationship?
I'm in support of it. Doesn't mean I will do it.
Okay,
I
you're just
prefer
not in
being alone.
support of marriage.
Not at all.
See.
Okay, so MissEyitayo, how do you plan on having kids? How do you plan on having children of your own?
Have you been to the IVF center? What's it there for? If you do not want to do it the conventional way, you can easily have an artificial
So how do you
insemination.
satisfy your urges? I mean, your sexual urges?
What are the sex toys there for?
So you mean you're just going to load your house up with toys and...
Well,
Is there any fun in that?
They were made for a purpose, and it is to satisfy yourself, isn't it?
Okay, so you're saying that you could easily just have fun with your toys and get over it?
Yes, I can easily have sex with my toys. Or I can have someone to have sex with if I feel like it.
But, you know, foul sound is body count going way up. It doesn't bother you.
Why should it bother? I'm an adult and I can make my decisions. That's one of the perks of being alone.
Okay, so MissEyitayo, how do you plan on training your child to not have a father figure?
A father figure does not mean that the person has to be the one that donated the sperm, does it? A father figure can be just a man that is going to influence a lot of decisions in the child's life.
So how do you plan on training a child up that way, knowing fully well that you're not going to get married?
I have a father, I have a brother, I have male cousins. That's a lot of father figures in the child's life.
But they will not be living with you, would they?
Who says I should live alone?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, but I do not agree with you. You know what? You cannot say that you would have a child and not have a father figure. Say the child grows up.
I said I will have a father figure, but it does not have to be the person that donated the sperm.
Okay, so it could be anyone.
Of course.
So, do you know that it's very important for a child to have his or her father while they're growing up?
And do you know that there are lots of children out there that are really messed up for having their fathers in their lives?
Okay, but there are also a lot of children who are also messed not having their fathers around. It's very important for them to have their father around. Say, for instance, if you were to give birth to a boy, right? We all know how it is difficult to raise a male child, and they tend to have these tendencies. And because you're female, which you're the mother, you exactly cannot have that control over them because they are male.
Raising a male child and a female child requires the same kind of effort. Raising a female child and a male child requires the same kind of effort. You really do not need anything important
that it does, but
to raise a male child.
But then again,
so
the requirements from the male, which is the father of the child, and the female, which is the mother of the child,
are two different things. You do not need the sperm donor to give the child good examples. You only need someone intelligent and good.
So what if the child grows up and says, "Who is my father?"
Then you give the child a story.
A story?
Yes.
You'd rather go by a story. What kind of story would that be?
Okay, let's assume...
A telltale?
someone actually impregnated you, you got pregnant, you gave birth to the child, and then before the child was born, the person died, would you not still tell the child that your father is dead?
Yes, but this is different. This context.
Why is it different?
It's different.
Because I personally chose not to have a father at all.
You have not given me anything in particular as to what you
I
say
can
to
easily
your child,
tell the child
regarding the father
I
of
can
the child.
easily tell
You
the
have
child
not said
when it
anything
is young
in particular.
that the father is dead, and when it is older and could understand better, I can tell the child that he has no father. It's that simple.
But how is that possible? If one doesn't have a father, how then is it that the child is existing? I don't get it. Explain.
Anonymous donors.
But then that is a person.
The person I do not even know
man
myself.
Whose baby you carried.
That I do not even know.
So you cannot say that the person does not exist.
Okay, guys.
The person only exists in paper.
Okay, so it says that the marital union provides the best conditions for raising children, namely the stable, loving relationship of both the father and the mother. I get that you would want to involve your family, your brothers, and so on. But don't you think, the Nigeria of today, we hear news of, uncles raping their niece and thereabout, or aunties even raping their nephews, or even friends of families. Don't you think you're putting a child into danger?
We also hear news these days in Nigeria of today that fathers are raping their daughters. Do we not?
Yes, we do.
Exactly. So regardless, the child is going to be in danger whether or not you're in a marriage.
Okay. So you mentioned that you could easily just lie to the child that he saw her father was dead.
Yes, when the child is younger.
Don't you think that the foundation should be laid on trust and honesty? Because, personally, I'll tell you, speaking from personal experiences and other people that I know of that are products of single relationship or single marriages, they do not grow up and turn out well. Trust me, because I feel like both father and mother both have their individual responsibilities that help in raising up a child. So if you think that you can do it alone, your uncle or your brother or your father would obviously have their own responsibilities as well.
That's the misconception. The father and the mother do not need to come together as one to raise a child. It's not something that should always be. It doesn't have to be like that. A mother can easily raise a child on her own with the help of her own family. You really do not need the person that gave you the sperm to raise the child. Did you grow up without a father?
Did you grow up without a father?
I have a father.
How well do you regard your father?
Pardon?
How well do you regard your father?
I give him some regard.
Some regard. But then he's still your father.
Yes,
and he's with you.
Kind of.
From your birth till now.
Mm-hmm.
You stay with your parents, do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, why is that?
Because I just feel like it.
Because you just feel like it?
Yeah, what's the point of wasting money for rent?
Okay, what's the point of wasting money for rent? Okay, but the point here is you grew up with a father. All right? You grew up with a father. That's the point I am trying to make.
I grew up with a father that was barely around, that I saw once every year during vacation.
Yeah, but that you see, this is why I said that it all depends on the individual. You said
that's why I'm telling you my own personal choice.
Your father wasn't always around, but then he was around sometime of your life. At a point of your life, he was around. Now he's still around.
He's still once in a while.
Once in a while. Okay, but he's still around. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is you still have someone to regard to as your father. You still have someone to call as father. I'm pretty sure if there's something, important in your life going on, or you have something to do, or something you want to do, you'd call on your father. You probably go to him for advice.
Nah, I'll probably go to my mom.
Okay, guys, so Femi 007 from K2 says, in the Bible, it says that if a man should leave his father and mother and cling to his wife, and the two of them should become one flesh. I totally support marriage. And we have Big Daddy from CMA. He says that he would obviously want to marry and have beautiful kids of his own. He is not in support of a male donor. So guys, let's go on a quick commercial break and we would be right back. Welcome back to Keeping It Real we have come to the end of the show. It was such an insightful and eye-opening episode. While MissEyitayo insists that marriage is overhyped and overrated, Simi Beauty here is indifferent about it. If you ask me, love is truly a beautiful thing with the right person.